We're living in this incredible age of AI. It's everywhere, right? Powering everything from our healthcare systems to the global financial markets. But let's be honest, for most of us, these systems are total black box. We see that they work, but we don't really get how or why. And that feeling, that uncertainty, that creates a huge problem. Trust.
So that really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? How can you possibly measure something as human as trust when you're talking about a machine? How can we be 100% sure that an AI is being fair, that it's secure, that it's reliable? This gap between what AI can do and what we can prove about it, that's the AI trust gap. And closing it is frankly one of the biggest challenges we're facing.
Okay, so here's the game plan for this explainer. First, we're going to really dig into this trust problem. Then we'll look at a pretty cool solution, a kind of scorecard for AI. We'll even go inside the workshop where people get trained to use it, see what it takes to get certified, and then we'll zoom out and talk about what this all means for the future of AI governance.
All right, first up, the AI trust problem. Because you see, it's no longer good enough for a company to just say, hey, our AI works. For businesses, for governments, and especially for you and me, we have to get way beyond it just works.
And here's the real problem. Without some kind of common standard, a shared rule book, everyone is just making up their own definitions. Assessing an AI's fairness or its security becomes a total free-for-all. It's like comparing apples to oranges, There's no real way to know if a company's claims about responsible AI actually mean anything. So all that chaos has created this huge demand for a standardized way of doing things. And that brings us to this search for a kind of universal scorecard. A single yardstick that we can use to measure any AI system anywhere.
And it turns out there's a group stepping up to the plate. It's called HISPI. That's the Holistic Information Security Practitioner Institute. Through their internal think tank, which they've dubbed Project Cerebellum, they're taking a serious shot at developing a framework to bring some order to this whole mess.
And what they've come up with is called the TAIMScore tool. Now, this isn't just another boring checklist. It's a whole framework, and its job is to act as a bridge. It connects those big, high-level ideas from global standards with actual measurable things you can point to and say, okay, this is our level of trust, and here is our level of risk.
And this is the really clever part. They didn't just invent this out of thin air. The TAIMScore score is built on a solid foundation. It lines up directly with major international standards, like the ones from ISO, and it integrates the big AI risk management framework from NIST over in the US. It's so important because it's creating a common language that's based on stuff the whole world already agrees on.
But a framework is just a piece of paper, right? It's only as good as the people who actually use it. So that's why we're going to go inside the workshop. This is where they're forging the experts who will take this scorecard out into the real world.
So, what does a day in this workshop actually look like? Well, it's intense. It's a one-day deep dive that starts with the basics of the framework, then shows you exactly how it maps to those big ISO and NIST standards. After you get the hang of the platform and the scoring, it's all about hands-on practice, figuring out how to fix problems, and finally earning that credential.
But the real centerpiece of the whole day, the part where it all clicks, is this hands-on lab. You're not just listening to lectures here. You are actively assessing a simulated AI platform for a healthcare company. I mean, talk about a complex, high-stakes scenario to cut your teeth on.
So what are you actually doing in there? Well, first, you have to figure out what the AI is for and who it's going to affect. Then, you map the company's existing rules to the framework's criteria. After that, you use a dashboard to get a hard number, a quantitative score. And finally, and this is absolutely the most important part, you have to interpret that score and come up with a real plan to fix the weak spots.
So all this intense training leads to something real, a formal credential. Let's talk about the people who do this, the people behind the score, and what it really takes to become a certified assessor.
First off, let's get practical. The price tag for this one-day workshop and the certification is $595. And that cost, that investment, really tells you something about how valuable and serious this new profession is becoming.
So who's actually in the room for this? Well, it's a fascinating mix. You've got your risk managers sitting next to data scientists. You've got compliance folks working with AI developers. It really shows you that building trust in AI isn't one person's job. It's a total team sport, and you need all these different perspectives to get it right. And what do you get at the end of the day? Well, it's not just a handshake. The official material says it right here. Participants who successfully complete the workshop get the TAIMScore Assessor Certificate from HISPI. This isn't just a participation trophy. It's a real credential that says you're qualified to do these incredibly important assessments.
Okay,
For our last section, let's pull the camera back a bit. Let's talk about the big picture here. Why does a specialized workshop like this actually matter for the future of AI?
Look, at the end of the day, this isn't about getting a certificate to hang on the wall. It's about something so much bigger. This is about building the human infrastructure for AI accountability. It's about creating a whole global community of trained professionals who all speak the same language and can hold these powerful technologies accountable.
And that leaves us with one final, really important thought. We all know AI is shaping our future, right? But the real question is, who's checking the work? Who is making sure it's all being built responsibly? Well, thanks to efforts like this one, we're starting to get a much clearer answer.